Hello everybody, welcome back for another crypto video. I do hope that you're all doing well and that you're all having a fantastic day. As always, leaving a like, leaving a comment, or subscribing, all these things do help out the channel immensely and are very much appreciated. Very big thank you to everyone who is a clicker of affiliate links, and a very big thank you to everyone who every single day leaves a like or leaves a comment. Thank you very much. Welcome back to another News I Missed, where I go over. That's right. I know someone out there said it. News I missed. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. The native token of Sandbox, known as Sand, jumped from an 8-month low following Friday's announcement of a collaboration between the metaverse Sandbox and Lionsgate Studios. Yeah, that one. Crazy, right? The move helped Sand overcome a 7-day losing run in the face of gloom in the bear market. Lionsgate is one of the biggest private studios in the United States. It owns Rambo, wow, Hellboy, and The Expendables, all of which apparently are going to be featured in the Sandbox. Here's a tweet for it right there. At the time of writing, they talk about the price, not too relevant. As of Friday, the circulating supply of sand is 1.25 billion, and the maximum supply is 3 billion. Based on their increased production in the horror and action domains, the metaverse has devised a comprehensive transition plan. Okay, and Lionsgate will contribute to adapting its characters and captivating stories to Web3 capable platforms. The Sandbox is a play-to-earn blockchain game that enables users to create a digital world on the Ethereum blockchain using NFTs. One of the really interesting things is that I'm not sure how or what exactly the trigger for it was, but Sandbox has kind of become the go-to place for the metaverse within the cryptocurrency space. I know that we have both Decentraland, which is also extremely popular, but Sandbox is kind of getting all the major companies on their side. Like, a lot of celebrities have bought like digital homes and land in the Sandbox metaverse. And this is not the first time that we've heard of companies like already having, I think there's 2 large like luxury fashion houses that also own land in the Sandbox. And doesn't Adidas and Nike, I think they also own land there as well. Like, this has kind of become like the big name corporation place to buy digital land inside the Sandbox. Very, very fascinating. At least I'm following all the little gigantic breadcrumbs. The Sandbox allows players to create their own avatars to access the different games and destinations available on the blockchain. It is the DeFi version of Minecraft, and they have a gigantic Lionsgate image right there. It's an ERC20 token. Enables the purchase and sale of land and assets within the metaverse. There was also something, the Sandbox, which is owned by, and I had no idea that it was owned by Animoca Brands. I'm pretty sure that Animoca, those are the people who created the Bored Ape Yacht Club. I keep seeing BAYC and Animoca, so I'm pretty sure that it's them. Reportedly seeks to attract funds at a valuation of more than $4 billion. The Sandbox reports that this deal will make Lionsgate the first major Hollywood studio to enter the metaverse. I have a really interesting feeling about where the metaverse is going to go, exactly who's going to be using it. I feel like it's kind of going to become, in my opinion, like video games 2.0. So like people who aren't explicitly into video games, but maybe into crypto, this will kind of be like the new go-to hangout spot. But if you have all these major brands and they incentivize people in some sort of way to go into their metaverse, and maybe you get prizes if you're there for a certain amount of time, or if you interact in a certain sort of way, like, I think these things will definitely catch on. Pay attention to the decrease in the amount of money in the market right now, rather the valuations of coins and how much everything is falling and slipping. But still the amount of companies who are like actively making sure that they continue to get into the space. Like, the metaverse is kind of just spoken about heavily within the cryptocurrency space kind of right now. I talk to a lot of friends. I mean, I'm not, it's not the first thing I say when I see them. Hey, metaverse? Like, I try to, at some point I mention the metaverse. to see where they are and gauge where they're coming from. It's not really a big thing outside of crypto. Like, people know of it. A lot of people may make fun of it, but it's not really hyper mainstream like the word Bitcoin or blockchain or something like that. But the amount of money that's still flowing into the space while prices are down makes me wonder, when prices eventually go back up, whenever that might actually be, exactly how big all of this stuff is going to be, because I feel like it's going to be absolutely insanely popular. But anyway, that's another story, if you will. That's the Sandbox is or has officially partnered with Lionsgate, and they're going to have a whole bunch of movies and stuff running around in their world. Yeah, that's the Sandbox news. Alrighty, let's move on. Also in the news, on Thursday, Blockstream co-founder and CEO Dr. Adam Back explained why he believes that the price of Bitcoin will reach $100,000 before the end of this year. He is the London-based British cryptographer and cypherpunk who was a pioneer of early digital asset research like David Schwab and Hal Finney. In 1997, he invented something called Hashcash. If you've never heard of Hashcash, it is widely believed that Satoshi Nakamoto is not one person, that he is actually multiple people. And for a very long time, it has been speculated that the people who created Hashcash, this is all allegedly because no one knows, nothing has been substantiated, that the people who created Hashcash were actually branched off at some point, and they helped to create Bitcoin. Why? Because Hashcash also used a proof of work algorithm, the same exact thing or something similar to what Bitcoin is using. The idea is Bitcoin apparently solved, I think it's called the Byzantine crisis. I can't remember exactly what it's called anymore. It used to be always in the news. The idea being is like a trusted system for money. So many years ago, along with Hashcash, many other things were created that looked similar to Bitcoin, but were not Bitcoin. Back in the late 90s, 2000, 2001, PayPal, if you actually listen to the creator of PayPal, he mentions that early on, the original idea of PayPal was meant to be something like Bitcoin. The idea was it was internet money that anyone could use at any given time, and it actually caught on for a bit until regulators were like, hey, what's that over there? That looks like our money. They had to fall in line with regulators, but because they were one of the first to create something like that and fell in line very quickly, this is why PayPal actually took off in popularity, because they were able to say, hey, look at what we did, but now we are regulated. And the same exact thing for Hashcash. There was also, I think there was another one that was also created around that time that actually also took off online. It was a digital way to kind of send value back and forth, similar to Bitcoin. But part of the problem is that it was basically centralized. And I mean, like, it was just one room that had a couple of computers, back in the 90s, the old gigantic towers. And that's why that also got shut down, because I think that the story goes that the government also found out where they were doing it and they kind of shut it off. So the iteration of Bitcoin was kind of basically a long time coming. And the idea was we have to make it decentralized to make sure that it can't be shut down once again. So like, there's a lot of speculation because the people behind Blockstream are also the people who they don't own Bitcoin's code, but they kind of are the not gatekeepers. That's a very strong word. They develop on top of Bitcoin, and they are kind of the main company in the space who does everything with Bitcoin. That's a very nice way of saying it. So yeah, this guy, allegedly one of the people who could be Satoshi Nakamoto, which I think is even more interesting, that we had for such a long time that so many people believed it was Craig Wright. And it's like, a lot of the people who created Hashcash are like still actually floating around and are doing like really great things, and they don't get any attention, but other people do. He invented Hashcash, a cryptographic hash-based proof-of-work algorithm. Bitcoin uses the Hashcash proof-of-work function as the mining core, and Bitcoin miners are expanding their efforts creating Hashcash proof of work, which act as a vote in the blockchain evolution and validate the blockchain transaction log. Yesterday, crypto educator and influencer Heidi Chakos, who is the co-host of a YouTube channel, tweeted that she expected the price of Bitcoin to go to about $100,000 in the next bull market. Backer replied to her, saying that he believed it was possible for Bitcoin's price to reach the milestone this year. She said Bitcoin will go above 100K next bull market. Anyone buying around these prices will be very happy the next run up to all-time high. He said, why not this year? Once the DeFi contagion via wrapped Bitcoin is flushed out. I'll explain that in 1 second because the cryptocurrency market is getting more and more interesting by the day. He then proceeded to talk about the macro factors that he believes will make his price prediction come true. In short, he seems to think that the Federal Reserve, which is the central bank of the United States, will decide to resume quantitative easing, or QE, soon, which should make the Bitcoin price resume its upward trajectory. Where's the other piece that I wanted to talk about? Yes, the whole idea of a DeFi contagion. We are currently at the point right now, at least at the time of me making this video, several other stable coins have begun to collapse. A number of DeFi programs, protocols, whatever you want to call them, systems, have also begun to collapse. The cryptocurrency market has a very big issue with leveraged positions. For some reason, a lot of people keep entering this market, and every single time that we get a flush out of people in the market, it's usually people who've had like highly leveraged positions, 40x, even 100x in some cases. The idea is that a lot of the DeFi space is mainly meant for people. This is the idea. This may not be what it is. I am simply relaying a message to you. A lot of the idea of the DeFi space is that a huge portion of it is just to make quick, fast cash. The idea of Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin is also to have quick money or make money faster. You know, you can make a good fortune in 4 years as opposed to 65 years that you would have to work. That's kind of the idea of the older coins now. DeFi is mainly make as much money as you can as quick as possible, break things as quick as possible. It keeps going and going and going until the entire thing basically collapses. A lot of the protocols that have or had a 18% yearly return or a 24% yearly return. I've seen the YouTube videos and they are very BitConnect-esque. I don't know these YouTubers, so I can't even call them out by name, and I wouldn't in general. But a lot of these channels, I saw one the other day. It was like how I make $7,000 per day. And I was like, this is going to be one of two things. This guy is either an absolute genius and has set up some really strong business that is just completely passive, or it's going to be something weird. I clicked on it and I clicked on multiple others after that. They were all the exact same thing. A lot of people who are into DeFi, who were telling other people to get into DeFi, which is once again very BitConnect-y. And the idea is the more money you push in, the more money you'll get out. They have a 24% return rate. That's going to make you rich in a couple of years. And I'm like, it's this kind of thing that has pushed itself deep into the cryptocurrency space as if it's meant to be some sort of like a wonderful, miraculous thing. This is how you get projects to collapse, because that is not sustainable. There's a reason why, if you look at or have ever been in the stock market, you see some of the largest companies on the planet, they may offer a dividend, which would be the equivalent of like staking your coins. You get, that return every week or every month or whatever. In the stock market, you typically look for a dividend return of around 3 to 4%. If you aim around 6% or 7%, it begins to get a little shaky because it's usually an incentive that the company is trying to provide for you to continue to buy and hold their stock. And they may not be the largest company yet. A very well-established company will normally have a 3 to 4% dividend rate. Of course, you can find some that are 5 or 6, but they are extremely rare. So the idea of being able to get an 24% yearly return as opposed to the normal 3 to 4% is where these things keep collapsing. So a lot of the people from the Bitcoin space, at least right now, are having a very big told you so kind of moment on Twitter and also other places, because they see that DeFi is beginning to collapse because it's not sustainable. These numbers do not make any sense. You will never, ever find anything. And it's not that cryptocurrencies are special or the only place where you should be able to get a return like this. It's like, no, these numbers don't make any sense. And this is why we keep seeing a lot of these projects collapsing. And then the other part being, it is expected now that we know-esque that the Federal Reserve will continue to raise interest rates. They have left indications that they plan on doing so. I forgot exactly what number they're trying to raise it to. I think it was 2 point something or 3 point something. Can't remember off the top of my head. But that can't go on forever, because if they continue to raise interest rates and the stock market continues to collapse, the entire economy will eventually become dust. Like, actually, it'll be 2008, 2009, 3.0 times 10, and they can't have that. So this is simply being done as like a showing that they're doing something while it's not actually enough. We need an entire change of the system that stops bubbles from actually forming, what have you, another conversation as well. But at some point, the Federal Reserve will have to go, okay, that's enough. We did what we could. And they're going to have to turn back on the money printer again, because there is not a situation where the US or any other country wants to become deflationary. The idea of inflation is that it helps show that your GDP continues rising every single year. If you have anything deflationary, or your markets are not growing and your GDP continues to fall, that shows that your country is, in economic terms, weak and is not doing very well. And especially, you cannot have that as the people who run the world reserve currency. Crazy, right? So at some point, even probably this year, they will have to do exactly what they were doing and have been doing since 2008, turning on the money printer massively. But yeah, crazy, right? There's so much going on, and this is why I think that we're seeing these numbers popping up again. No one knows if they are going to happen, but it seems quite interesting that we're getting so many people talking about a 100K Bitcoin this year, and everyone seems to be completely confident. A lot of the analysts out there are very confident that we are going to hit a 150 to 250 to $500,000 Bitcoin by the next halving. So yeah, he said everyone has their pet macro views. My guess, stock market plus US election season, moral hazard kicks up, quantitative easing ramps up again, rates drop again, money printer goes into overdrive, so the interest rate overhang falls off, and Bitcoin decorrelates somewhere along the way once DeFi has been flushed. Very interesting, because the news that we get, I always believe, is like a sliver of what's actually going on. I'm sure these people have conversations with very big people in the space who know exactly where the next trend is going to go, and as far as like what the Fed plans on doing when they plan on doing it, what the banks plan on doing, what the banks already know. So yeah, that's the one of the people who created Hashcash and now works at Blockstream. Look at Blockstream. If you don't know what Blockstream is, like, look at what they do. They're an actual big deal, and they manage to stay under the radar quite often. Thinks that Bitcoin could probably go to 100K sometime this year. It's not unbelievable. I mean, it's totally. We've seen run-ups in 7 months before that have kind of blown everyone away. So, yeah, that's that news. And let's move on. Also in the news, Huobi co-founder Du Jun and Chinese Web3 investor B-Man, it's literally the letters B-M-A-N, Lee, said on Friday that they launched a new $400 million fund to invest in crypto projects. Once again, always keep this in mind. The amount of people who are investing massive amounts of money as prices are falling is not a mistake. It is not random. It is not I wonder why they're doing that. They know that these prices are going to go a lot higher. We are not going to see a $19,000 Bitcoin forever. We will at some point in the future see prices skyrocket all over again. The same exact thing with the stock market. There was a video that was floating around a couple days ago where they were asking people around Wall Street what they thought of the current crash. And a lot of them were all like, well, I'm buying because I know that prices will eventually go back up. So it's kind of like this is, not financial advice, but they were all saying that this was like a very good time to accumulate. And at the same exact time, the amount of funds that are launching hundreds of millions or billions of dollars while the market, our market, all markets are collapsing is something to pay attention to, because this is when the big money makes the big money. This is when we hear about in like a year and a half or 2 years or 2.5 years, these people go on the news and say, yeah, we made $47 billion. And people go, how did they make all that money? It's this. It's with a $400 million fund. The fund, literally called ABCDE Capital, will seek to support between 10 to 20 CEOs annually. B-Man said in a Twitter thread, it will focus primarily on blockchain infrastructure, open finance, digital apps, all that have the potential for mass adoption. The launch comes amid one of the worst downturns in crypto history. It is not that bad. This happens every 2.5 to 3 years. It's always the same. We are not even as low as we have been in previous downtrend cycles. Like, we've gone down with multiple coins we're down by 98%. Many coins right now are down between 74 to like 86%. Like, things are in red, but it can always get a lot worse. Like, it is not even that bad. This is simply a normal downtrend, with Bitcoin and Ethereum trading well below 50% from their respective peaks, because that's just how it happens. But it also follows a similar move by venture capitalist Andreessen Horowitz to capitalize on low valuations due to the crash. The firm had last month rolled out a $4.5 billion, that's with a B, $4.5 billion fund. This happens every single cycle. It usually lets me know that we are kind of at the lowest point of the cavern, when all the big money, their charts are indicating to them, this is the bottom. We got to get into it right now. This is what always ends up happening. This is, I think, we hear about this at least twice or thrice a week, consistently. And it's always a different company. It's never exactly the same. It's either billionaire talking about, I'm creating a new $200 million fund with these three people to buy up these companies, or I just launched a new $500 million fund to throw into the cryptocurrency space while prices are down, or a $400 million fund, or there's tons of money waiting in the sidelines to enter at all times. They're constantly frothing at the mouth, waiting for our prices to drop. And that's why those other articles with people being like, despite the low prices, they're getting into it. Oh, no. This is when they do it. It's when prices are really low. Everyone else is terrified. You buy up everything completely in sight. And I remember saying this in 2017, and I'll say it once again. Don't be upset when you see these people. And I mean, making egregious amounts of money. These people have been buying into the market for such a long amount of time, and this is why they're making all the money. But I know so many people who are not into crypto who continuously say, well, all these rich people, and it's like, yeah, they're rich because, listen, some of them may have been born into it, but a large portion of them had a couple $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. There was this guy, this I don't know what this man's name is. There's a video of this guy from Switzerland. He has his own company now. I think around 2011, 2012, he threw a couple hundred Swiss francs into the cryptocurrency market. He said he didn't really expect too much from it, but I think he ended up buying like $28 million worth of Bitcoin when the price went up. He cashed out of a huge portion of it, bought tons of real estate, started his own company, hired tons of people. And I don't know what they do. Is it consulting? I have no idea what they do, but he's incredibly successful. It's kind of just like an early adopter. Well, anyway, the point is, yes, this is another gigantic fund that is investing in the cryptocurrency space when prices are down, because that's how you make all the money. You don't do it on a sunny day. You do it when it's raining, and you can build when no one else is looking. Anyway, that's the gigantic fund winter news. And yeah, let's move on. Right. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a wonderful day, wonderful morning, wonderful afternoon, wonderful evening. Ethereum always has backed up transactions. This looks crazy. This looks absolutely nuts. Wherever you are, wherever you might be, I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, liking, commenting, listening, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.